It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of March 19th, 2004. We only got 3 films to look at today, but they are very notable films, some to great levels, others not so much, others are pretty good on their own. Let's start off with the one that's pretty good, and that is the remake of George A. Romero's zombie classic, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, this is the remake of George A. Romero's classic movie, which, as you can tell, I've shown in my movie stop episodes that the mall I go to is the Monroeville Mall, which is of course the original location of the setting where Dawn of the Dead is, and there's still a zombie museum there. I always say hi to my buddy George. His bust is right across from right on the bottom of where the zombie museum is at, which I've taken you before in a previous video. So I'm gonna have some similar. I'm gonna have to compare the original Dawn of the Dead to this, and you know, this is a film that is essentially a remake of the original George A. Romero movie set in modern times and set in Milwaukee, where you follow a group of survivors who try to survive a zombie apocalypse holed up in a suburban shopping mall. So essentially, the same movie as the original film, and Universal actually bought the rights from the original people who made Dawn of the Dead, and brought in James Gunn, who wrote the script for this, which is actually one of 2 movies he wrote in March of 2004. The other one being Scooby-Doo 2, which we'll get to next week, but needless to say, this one is definitely the better film. And essentially the idea was basically to center it around the action genre instead of making it just a straight-up horror movie. And that's when Zack Snyder comes into play, taking it over with the goal of keeping every aspect of the production as grounded in reality as possible, which for Zack Snyder is keep in mind, this is back when Zack Snyder wasn't the Zack Snyder that we know him for today. And I'm grateful for that, because you know what? This was actually a pretty good remake, even though George A. Romero himself was not the biggest fan of it. I'm assuming when it came out, I don't know if he actually changed his mind later on down the road. In fact, let me see. I'm just kind of curious. It doesn't say if he came around to it, but he was not a big fan of this movie when it came out in 2004. In fact, the next year, he actually got a chance to make his own sequel to Dawn of the Dead with Land of the Dead, which, not quite as good as this movie is, but I think it's a lot better than people let on. But this is a film that is essentially a modern-day version of the original film. And I think the original film, in particular, I think holds up better. Not just saying that because I literally live about 15-20 minutes away from where that movie was filmed, and I get to see all the sets and all the places where the movie was filmed and all that. But Zack Snyder does a very good job of making this a modernized telling of it, but not doing the same thing over again. Like, one of the biggest problems with the Tom Savini Night of the Living Dead movie that was made back in 1990 was that it was essentially just a colorized, straight-up remake of the original 1968 movie, which I don't think was as bad as people let on, but I will definitely say it was a pointless remake. At least with this one, they actually do take chances with it. The idea of making it an action film, too, kind of like how the zombies now can run like crazy in 28 Days Later. I think that was a big motivation for Zack Snyder making this movie. Plus, they introduced new ideas to it. Like, there's the big scene where, of course, you have the woman who's pregnant, and she gets bitten by a zombie, and when she's about to have the kid, it turns into a zombie as well. And that's an idea that's really, it's impressive to think about, but it's also kind of disturbing to think about. And the way it's done here, it ain't the best overall, but the idea of it is so good that I kind of give it a free pass because of that. And the film itself is really good. I think it's a very good, straightforward retelling of the original film while giving it a modernized setting. The acting overall is really good. You got a lot of talent here. Sarah Polley, of course, went on to become an Oscar winner for writing. Ving Rhames is in here. Jake Weber, Mekhi Phifer. You know, a really strong cast overall in the movie that really makes this material work as well as it does. And, you know, it's a fun film. It's a really enjoyable movie. As somebody who grew up with the original, who knows much about the original Dawn of the Dead, I didn't necessarily grew up with it because I didn't actually see the original Dawn of the Dead until much later on down the road. I think the first time I saw it was like in 2016, I think. 16, 17, I could be wrong on that, but it was around that time. But without a doubt, the original film I do think stands out as the best. But Zack Snyder made a pretty damn good remake of it. I think he did a very good job of modernizing it. There's great talent board with the casting, the writing, and the direction. I do think that carries the load better. It's in making a modern horror film, which is especially compared to some of the modern horror remakes we got after this. This one really was the best of the bunch, and it just really shows that, hey, Zack Snyder wasn't a hack director who was just making really bad movies just for the sake of really bad movies, because he's made some really, really bad movies the last couple of years, but this is back when he showed everybody what he could do, and does a pretty good job with it, honestly. I really like this movie. I think it's a very good film. I think you'll really find a lot to appreciate about it. It's a great modern retelling of the original story. I think it did its job better than the 90 Night of the Living Dead movie. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. So that's Dawn of the Dead. So let's go ahead and move on to the bad film, and that is DJ Caruso's Taking Lives, starring Ethan Hawke and Angelina Jolie. Man, this is a really, really bad movie that has so much potential to it, but man, this is rough. And you have the plot is pretty simple. You have an enigmatic serial killer who takes on the identities of his victims, and Angelina Jolie is investigating this. You have Jenna Rollins in here, who plays the mother of the accused of the serial killer. And like I said, this was directed by DJ Caruso. This was one of his earlier films, and it's definitely one of his lesser films. I will say that. It's a movie that really does not fit what DJ Caruso would eventually give us later on down the road. But man, this is a bad movie. This is another one of those movies like Twisted that has one of those terrible twist endings that you see coming a mile away. The fact that, I'll just say this, the fact that Ethan Hawke says, I know who this person is and I can show you who he is. It's like, if you don't know who the bad guy is at that point, then you clearly have something wrong with you. In fact, I don't even need to tell you what happens in the movie. The poster literally has a picture of who the serial killer is. This is probably not the best size of it. Let me give you a larger version of this. I mean, look. That's Ethan Hawke. I mean, they're trying to make it think it's Kiefer Sutherland because he's also in the movie, but that's friggin' Ethan Hawke's face. And I love this other trailer, this other poster that I just found, because it doesn't even bother to hide the fact that it's clearly not supposed to be Kiefer Sutherland. It's literally Ethan Hawke. But I mean, that's not as bad as this one. But my God, like, if you can't figure out that that's Ethan Hawke in this trailer as the serial killer, that's just, you clearly have some problems here. Like, you could figure it out right from the get-go, and the posters aren't even hiding the fact that it's pretty much who you think it is. And that's how bad this movie is. The fact that you can't even is that if you could figure it out so quickly, where's the twist here? Like, where's the whole idea that this whole movie, what's the whole purpose of this movie's existence? Like, what am I supposed to take away from this, honestly? But yeah, it's a bad movie. It's a really, really bad movie. It has a terrible ending. It's a really abysmal film on so many levels. Too many good, talented people involved in this. DJ Caruso's made better movies than this. This is straight up garbage. This is a terrible film. It's a movie so bad, it has so many laughable moments in here that are not supposed to be funny. It's a terrible movie. It's one of the worst movies of the year, easily. No question about it. Excuse me. It's so bad that I can't even talk straight. But I digress. That is Taking Lives. So let's go ahead and end this on a high note with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This is easily the best movie released this weekend, and it follows two individuals, played by Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet, who undergo a memory erasure procedure to forget each other after the dissolution of their romantic relationship. And it uses elements of psychological drama, science fiction, and a non-linear narrative to explore the nature of memory and love. So it's kind of like the funny version of Total Recall, except not really funny, but it's less action-packed than Total Recall. But this is a classic movie. This is an amazing, amazing film. For Jim Carrey, I mean, this was a movie that really showed his range as an actor. I mean, he had tried his hand at dramatic roles beforehand with The Truman Show and The Majestic, and this was the one that really, I think, is his best overall dramatic performance. This is a great movie with him in it. Him and Kate Winslet work off each other so well. A phenomenal cast. Kirsten Dunst, Mark Ruffalo, Elijah Wood, Tom Wilkinson. A visual style that is so impressive to look at. Written by Charlie Kaufman, directed by Michel Gondry. Just everything about this movie just works so well. It's a great, great movie. It's easily one of the best movies of the decade, hands down. It's a movie that should have gotten a lot more attention than it deserved. I mean, Jim Carrey, the fact that for the second time in a great movie like this, he gets snubbed for an Academy Award. Like, come on, man. This is a guy that definitely deserved to be nominated. nominated up there, and just like they don't want to nominate him because he's a funny guy, and clearly funny people can't be Academy Award winning actors. Jamie Foxx, Jamie Foxx, and hell, Robert Downey Jr. is a funny guy too, but I don't know. They have this is one of those. It's one of those things that makes you really question the Academy Awards and that they show favoritism to other specific stars in particular. But it's just like, it's a great role because it's against type. It's against a type that really is not what we expect from Jim Carrey. He's not overselling it like he's doing in something like The Number 23 or in The Majestic, but he's actually playing a character. It's a great character in here. It's a great movie in general. It's a movie that I'm so glad has gotten the respect that it has deserved over the years, but man, it's an amazing movie. I can't recommend this one enough. I can't even really say too much more about it. It hasn't already been said already. Like, clearly, if you haven't seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, you need to get off your ass and go see it because it's one of the greatest movies of all time. It's an amazing film, a visual splendor to look at, great performances, great writing, great direction, great music, great everything. I love this movie to death. I would die for this movie pretty much. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I'm turning into Riley's in dream boyfriend from the Inside Out. I would die from this movie. Yeah, I don't know, but I do know that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a great movie. And so, with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and we'll wrap March up next week with 4 movies, including the aforementioned Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, the Coen Brothers with their second movie in 6 months, this time with Tom Hanks and Marlon Wayans, the remake of The Lady Killers, Kevin Smith directing Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler in the more mainstream movie Jersey Girl, which was hoping to buck the trend of Ben Affleck's last couple movies, but didn't really work out as well as it probably should have. But and we also have DMX in Never Die Alone. So we'll take a look at those 4 movies all on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the plays on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. But wait! I don't know why I did that. I tried to try something a little bit different here, but seriously, wait a second. Before you head on out of here, don't forget to check out Time About the Movies Flashback. Coming up on there, we'll start at the beginning of February 1988 with 3 notable films. Wes Craven's The Serpent and the Rainbow, John Hughes' She's Having a Baby, and The Unbearable Lightness of Being. So we'll take a look at those 3 films on Time About the Movies Flashback, which will be posted right after this.